extent you haven't testified on these items is what I've summarized as it relates to the application, true and correct?
Correct.
Okay. And will Hillport comply with the requirements of section 307.22 of the Township Zoning Ordinance in connection with the construction and operation of this centralized facility?
Yes.
That's all the questions I have.
Counsel?
None.
I just have a couple of questions. Do you have a representation, a photograph, drawing of what this thing's going to look like when it's finished?
I have that information. I've submitted it to the township before on our last facility. It's basically a drawing, well, it's an actual photo of a facility that we had in another asset area.
So what you're going to build there is more or less identical to what you have already
Yes,
built
sir.
on Whiting property?
Yes, sir.
Are there any buildings or just equipment?
Just equipment.
Have you applied for a land development permit?
Yes, sir.
Has that been granted?
It's in the process.
And the permitting for this facility, beyond the E&S permit, are there other DE permits that are yet to be obtained to construct this facility?
No, sir, that's the only permit that we need to construct.
And Stephanie, just one other question. What's the service area for this facility?
What wells will tie
Yeah.
into this? I'm not exactly sure right now, but I can get that information to you guys.
This facility will service other wells via pipeline.
Yes, via pipeline, mostly everything that we have in Pulaski. Half of them will go to the current central facility, the other half will go to the Pulaski facility.
Thank you. Is there any objection to these exhibits? If not, they're admitted. Anything else? Mr. Lucas?
Yeah.
Thank you. Mr. Oliver, do you wish to call any witnesses?
No, not on this matter.
Okay. Dr. Timothy Cheeto.
Yes.
Yes, sir.
Okay.
You're sworn?
First off,
Yes?
Yes, I'm sworn.
Thank you.
Thank you. First off, I'd like to let you know that this township and the individuals that sit on the township board are now in the Court of Common Pleas of Pennsylvania, and actually when I applied with you, I filed a writ of summons. Okay? And essentially, well, I'll give the docket number 10577. Mr. Hart, I received a note from you. Thank you for your experience. Okay, on getting back with me. Your note basically says that my presumptions of the law are erroneous. I don't believe that, and we will find that out in court.
Do you have evidence or testimony to submit on this application?
Other than I believe that this application here violates the Constitution of Pennsylvania. Any and all heavy industry processes that go into agricultural or residential zones are not compatible or incompatible use. And I believe it is beyond the zoning board's jurisdiction to be able to make these decisions. And that is why I'm bringing suit.
And so your objection tonight is this board lacks jurisdiction to decide this case?
Correct. Also the ethical concerns of the board itself. I believe that there are too many ethical complications for this board to actually make competent decisions.
Do you have evidence of that?
Yes, I do, sir. Not with me, but I do.
Now is the time to present evidence if you have.
I'll get back to you just like she will.
Anything else, sir?
Yes, actually. I live at 650 Cherrywood Road, and the Majatic well is been going in. And I also believe that that is in the same violation category that I stated before. And I'm bringing action on that. Any and all heavy processes do not belong in an agricultural or industrial zone, residential zone area. They must, and they're clearly, Act 13 clearly has brought from the Supreme Court down, this clearly brought that the zoning board does not have the power to do this. And that is my interpretation, and it is also my attorney's interpretation.
Okay, thank you. Do you have any documents that you wish to submit to the record, or are those just your notes?
If you would like a copy of the writ, that would be fine.
Well, that's not relevant to this. That'll be addressed in court, so we don't need to put that in the record. But you're welcome to offer it if you wish.
No, not at this time. I reserve that right for a different time.
Okay, thank you. Anything else, Dr. Cheetah?
That should be it.
Did I pronounce your name correctly?
Yes, you did. Very good. Thank you, sir.
Thank you. Ruth Fletcher. Ma'am.
I sat down, I didn't get sworn in, but I do have a question.
Okay.
Can I ask my question before they vote?
Let's wait till the end, and we get all the evidence and
Okay,
testimony,
fine.
and then if there's any questions, we'll address them. Janet Beckinger? Yes, ma'am.
I'm gonna withhold till I hear more.
Okay. Tammy Rudzik.
Hi, I'm Tammy Bruzy. I live at 584 Cherrywood Road.
Pronounce your name wrong.
That's okay. Some people say Rudzik, some people say Rizzy. We're having really hard issues with the noise, okay? I don't know if something can be done that there is sound barriers put up into the tree line area of Majavics or even on our side. The trucks are coming down like at night, and actually where they have the sound barriers at, the trucks are actually coming down and they're on the opposite side where they're coming in and going to the right, and the sound barrier is off to the left. And when they're backing up, we just hear their beepers all night, and the I don't know if it's like pipe coming off of there and being screwed into each other. We don't know what it is, but if something can be done with that. And then we're getting, just in this past week, we have a white residue all over our deck and our table and chairs outside, patio furniture. So, and are they getting close to being done there? Because, just to let you know, we were on vacation last week, so when we come home, actually yesterday, that's when you could see that all over. Now, they're over there spraying down, I don't know, they're using like some big powerful hoses, I don't know what it is. Looks like they're halfway done, halfway not. The drill rig is down. So now are they coming back in here shortly and bringing the big rig, or are we getting a break from that? Can you tell me that?
You are having a break right now from that because we did drill the vertical portion of those wells to try to keep the dust from going all over the place. We do spray, and so the dirt doesn't fly all over the place. So maybe that's what the residue is.
The white residue?
Right.
Okay.
I am not certain of the drill schedule because I don't have it in front of me, but I can let you know when the bigger rig is coming in, and we can address more of the sound issues and move the barrier so it could help.
Yeah, I mean, if we can just get something up there, I mean, like I said, it's just, it's really starting to get fast, like, we can't even be out on the deck at all. I mean, you just feel like we're just all closed up in the house. I mean, you feel like you don't even wanna go out and weed or, you know, be out for very long, you know, that. So,
We will
some of that
address,
can,
we can address. some of
especially
that.
if the big rig's coming in there and, you know, but I was concerned, you know, my husband was concerned about the residue that was, you know, on our stuff, you know, what that is.
Will you be able to investigate that?
Yes, I will.
You will do that?
Yes, I will.
Thank you. Is the noise primarily from the trucks, Mrs. Rizzi?
No, it's from everything.
Construction
It's from the
noise and the trucks?
construction, it's from the well itself, it's the, you know, the humming of it.
Are your activities regulated by DEP as far as noise, decibel levels and so forth?
There is a, yes, there is a noise decibel level that we, actually not the DEP, regulates that, that's a township regulation. So we're.
We go to the noise ordinance.
Yeah, exactly. But I do send out the mitigators to investigate the noise level, and they take samples before they decide what type of barrier to put out.
Okay, thank you. Pauline Beck,
I'm going to reserve until the end.
thank you. We're at the end,
I'll take her spot.
last on the list.
May I add?
Can I?
Excuse me. Do you have anything you want?
Do I need to be sworn in? Because I said,
Please be sworn in.
okay.
Do you solemnly swear the testimony you're about to give in this case will be the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth, so help you God?
I did.
Thank you.
I think what Mrs. Rudzik just said is a good, solid case to deny this. I was here when Mrs. Rudzik asked specifically whether or not there would be some way to prevent noise and light from keeping her husband awake at night because he works early in the morning, and she was very concerned about that. She was, what sounded to me like a very strongly guaranteed that there would be no problems in terms of light or noise. Seems to me that there are an awful lot of promises being made, an awful lot of rules and laws being broken, and we're continuing to allow Hillcorp to do this. It really upsets me, it bothers me. At the Mahoning Township meeting, one resident of the area asked how Hillcorp put in a well pad, well, how they constructed a well pad at a site where there was no permit granted. And Mrs. McMurray said when they came into the area, they did not know they needed a permit, and so they constructed the well pad. Since when is ignorance of the law an excuse to violate it? Yeah, I'm sorry, but I've seen it all over in other areas too. We stood here at the beginning and said, "I pledge allegiance to the flag." We're throwing away a lot of our constitutional rights, and what Dr. Tito said is.
We need to
is
confine
there.
ourselves to this application.
Okay, it does apply to this, yes. You know, as far as I'm concerned, we might as well say, I pledge allegiance to the rig, because they're getting their way.
Thank you.
A quick question.
Wait. Does anybody else have any testimony or evidence? Ma'am?
I do. I didn't swear in. Suzanne Matteo, 1230 New Bedford Sharon Road. This is an
Please
application.
give Mrs. Matteo the oath.
Yes. Raise your right hand. You solemnly swear the testimony you're about to give in this case will be the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth, so help you God?
Correct.
Thank you.
This is a permit for a central facility, but Mrs. McMurray just said the same thing is over at the Whiting property, which is a compressor station, correct? And how many of these are going to be in the township? Because my research at the DEP says there's 7 for the whole Lawrence County, and then there's further down the road, the Allison property. This is a compressor station. What data do you have about the emissions, and do you have your air quality permit? Because when I checked the DEP site today, I didn't see it. And you need that. before you can begin? Do you have that in that file, the air quality permit from the DEP? Because I didn't even see your application for that on the DEP site, and that's a requirement.
Yes, I'm very much aware that is a requirement, and those permits will be filed.
They need to be filed before
They will
conditional
be
use
filed
permits are granted.
before construction has been started. That is a state regulation, and we would not have a central facility there without air
So this is a
quality
compressor
permits.
station. Why don't you call it what it is and permit it correctly? It's a compressor station.
Yeah, Mr. Harper had asked if the witness, if Ms. Mateo is going to ask questions, I think she'd have the courtesy of letting Ms. McMurray answer the question before she interrupts it.
Did you finish your answer?
Yes.
Thank you. Do you have any other questions?
No.
Anybody else have anything to offer by way of testimony? Ma'am?
My name's Margaret
He
Henry.
would be sir.
Oh, I'm sorry. My name's Margaret Henry. My address is 606 Columbiana Road, Bessemer, Pennsylvania. It's North Beaver Township.
Wait a second. You're not on the list?
The list was up front by the time I got here.
Margaret Henry,
Yes,
and your address?
606 Columbiana Road, Bessemer, Pennsylvania. And that is North Beaver Township.
Are you sworn?
No,
Please be sworn.
Do solemnly swear the testimony you're about to give in this case will be the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth, so help you God.
absolute truth, so help me God. I hear a lot of conversation and a lot of talk, both at the Mahoning Township meeting about the compressor station on Baird Road and here. And I hear a lot about the noise. One resident in Mahoning Township touched on the gases given off at those things. And that's what I'm gonna talk about right now. They are absolutely the worst pollutants you could possibly want to imagine. I can't believe for one instance that my freaking government would permit a corporation to expose people to the VOCs, the particulate matter. And if you think I'm talking about stuff I don't know what I'm talking about, you need to write down FLIR. It stands for FLIR. It is a camera that it somehow takes pictures of gases. It uses the chrome scale that the gases give off. And you need to look online at the videos that I have seen about the gases that these things vent off. And you know, people's gonna have the nerve to tell me I don't have standing because I don't live in Pulaski. Well, you know what? When you figure out a way to keep that crap in Pulaski, I'll stop coming and stop talking. But no, and actually that's not true because I love her children. I refuse to allow them to be poisoned. Refuse! I will not have them exposed to carcinogenic, neurotoxic, endocrine disrupting agents.
You took an
It
oath
won't
to
happen.
protect us all.
I will use my body to prevent that. I cannot tell you the lengths that a lot of people and I in this room will go to non-violently to stop this charade. It's absolutely ridiculous. And second of all, okay, not only do we have all this noxious, and I'm having a hard time coming up with words that are deemed socially acceptable, okay? So I'll just stop there. Do you know, have you ever seen the rate at which those things explode? I have a list. Starting in 2012, it has over 40 accounts of homes being destroyed, 2-mile-wide areas being evacuated, people being killed by those things. What are you thinking? How do you sleep with yourself at night when you say, go ahead, do it, go ahead, do it? I don't get it. And I refuse to accept it.
Anything else?
Yes, if I could.
Yes, please.
Just in terms of Ms. Henry's testimony and others, just note a continuing objection to the record to any individual on a standing basis who doesn't live in close proximity to the proposed site here, as well as the relevance of this testimony.
we'll reserve ruling on any objections.
I get sworn in. Tim Griffith, 3642 High Hill Road, Pulaski, PA.
Would you raise your right hand, please? Do you solemnly swear the testimony you're about to give in this case will be the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth, so help you God?
Yes. Is Pulaski Township doing any leasing monitoring, or is it just the industry you're accepting their documentation on the air, sound?
I can't answer that question.
I can't.
I can.
Now,
The question wasn't addressed to
even the ones that sold their soul, you township supervisors are here to protect the residents of Pulaski Township. Okay? Duke University came out with a study that properties, even taking the lease fees and the royalties, properties within a 1.5 mile radius of a fracking site decreased in value 23%.
Let me stop you.
Okay, you can
We're
stop.
going to hear what you have to say. But you have to understand, unless you have documentary evidence, no.
I sent for it, I'll give it
Please,
for you.
please
Certified
let me
copy for
finish, and I'll be courteous enough to let you do the same. If you have studies, information, documentation, we'll be happy to entertain that as evidence. We're not going to have people report about what somebody else found at Duke or North Carolina or...
I couldn't get a certified copy in time, but I will have a certified copy next time. And I'll tell you residents, if you're being annoyed by it, nuisance lawsuits, the first one just went down in Texas, $3 million. Don't hesitate to file a nuisance lawsuit against Hillcorp.
I would just,
Dr. Cheeto, you have something else?
Yes, I would like to add to what she said about the noise. I'm a musician. When I play, I have to carry a decimal meter with me, because if I play music in a venue, it can only exceed a certain amount or I get fined. I use this device to check the decimal level of what Hillcorp was putting out. At my doorstep, it was 80 decibels, which is enough to cause hearing damage. And if you need documentation on that, I would be happy to give it to you.
Where was that reading taken?
That reading was taken at my doorstep, 650 Cherrywood Road, Pulaski, PA, 16143.
And that's near which facility?
That would be near the Majabec facility.
Thank you.
Now, I have a question. Do you have an evacuation plan? Do you have an emergency plan? If you're not, every last one of you guys are negligent. And I'd like to see
The
it.
applicant is required to submit an emergency action plan with each application.
I would like to see it.
Well, it's a public record, you can see it anytime.
Okay, would you please show me where I can
Well, we're
find
not
it?
going to do that now.
Okay.
Can we ask questions?
Well, we're not going to turn this into a panel discussion for the reasons I announced earlier, because we have to conclude this record, and the supervisors have to decide if they have enough evidence on which to vote. So unless you have something to offer for the record,
Well,
go ahead.
I've done some.
What is your name, please?
Colette Gabriel.
Colette Gabriel. Do you
I
want to be sworn in?
I did before that.
Did you?
meeting.
No, if you've already sworn in, that's fine.
She had mentioned the equipment that's being used, and the facility is to take away what's coming up from the pipes. She said that it was minerals extracted from the well. Does that also include the brine water that they've previously injected into the fracking wells that is coming back up?
You want to address that?
Brine is disposed of off-site for all of our wells.
But does it go through this facility?
No, it does not.
So where does it come back from? Like, where is that taken, extracted from the wells, from the
It is
exact location?
extracted directly on the well site, and it is trucked off into a disposal facility.
What would the average gallon be?
I cannot address that at this time.
Well, when I've researched on the actual wells, they bring in multiple trucks of gallons and gallons of water for just one well. And if you're extracting that water that's coming back up and the other minerals that are coming back up from it, that's also gonna be gallons and gallons. So the equipment might not be heavy itself, but what it's shipping in and what it's taking out is gonna add on to the actual weight.
This is not a well site, so, and as Ms. McMurray's testified.
But it is
any-
a
But
mineral.
her
any
question
produced
is,
water.
It's
her
a
question
mineral
is the
extraction.
brine gonna be processed there? Is it gonna be brought
No.
there?
No.
No.
Then what minerals are being extracted at this facility?
None.
But she said that it was a
The
process.
process, I don't mean to speak for you, but my understanding of the testimony was the gases from the other wells will come there by pipeline and be separated into wet and dry gases.
Correct.
The brine has already been removed.
Correct. Before it even gets to the facility.
Does that answer your question?
Well, I'm confused. She first said that it was minerals extracted from the well and then it's gases. So what
Gases are
exactly,
minerals.
what type of gases?
Natural gas
Well, you're extracting it, so there's natural gas and what are you separating?
and wet gas, which is oil.
Okay. So like you can't give us the actual like weight of it, cause that,
No, I cannot speak to that right now.
I don't mean to be short with any of these questions, but we're limited in our inquiry
I
here to
understand,
the manners that are
but
addressed in our zoning ordinance.
my concern was
But I
because
understand your question.
the weight, the difference between the weight and the actual roads, I mean, there's been instances where afterwards, the roads have just fallen apart, even though it wasn't right away, it happened afterwards, and then it caused a lot more problems later on. I'm looking for future-wise.
They've submitted a road.
I understand that.
Okay. Anybody else? Yes.
I'm Tammy Rosnick, 584 Cherrywood Road. This woman spoke back here about the fracking and, you know, all the causes and, you know, what could be and what could happen to us. You know, it upsets me. I try to put it in the back of my mind, but I just want people to know, please just make sure, you know, we really research things and we really know what we're doing because, you know, hey, like I said, you know, we signed up, we're right beside Majavix, we signed a lease. Whatever happens, happens, we're here, you know, we're all in this together. We're here and it's not going away. So we just need to all work together on things and come together and whatever is, but let's just make sure that we all know our facts and, you know, some of the things that people say, you know, scare you, you know, get us all nervous and, you know, we worry about our water and, you know, every day, you know, I check my water, you know, I'm looking at it to make sure there's nothing in it, to take a shower, you know, so I'm just, you know, like I said, I just want everybody to understand that, you know, we're all here, we've all signed leases, so, you know, well, we didn't all sign leases, I'm sorry, to the Nogies. But, you know, for the most part of us, we have, and we're gonna have to deal with it. Whatever happens, happens, and deal with it when it comes along, because we're all in this together.
Thank you. Yes.
Thank you. I'm not sworn in.
Do you solemnly swear the testimony you're about to give in this case will be the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth,
I
so
do.
help you God? And would you state your name for the
My name's
record?
Jim Hassan, 2089 Mar Road, Pulaski, PA. I have a question pertinent to this application as well as any other well site, and it touches on the emergency response. Has Hillcorp provided any funding, education, training, equipment to Pulaski Volunteer Fire Department? They're gonna be the first line response, and I don't think they're quite capable to manage a well site fire or explosion like we saw in Greene County in February, where the response to that was several days in length.
We do have an emergency response plan. We do not involve the local responders in those types of situations. We have trained professionals to come out and mitigate that. What we ask of the township to do is basically to control traffic, because it is a specialized issue. Like I said, we have several professionals on hand for that, that specialize in those types of issues.
Thank you. And where would they be responding from?
We have them in several areas out in
Houston.
throughout PA.
And their average response time?
I don't know, I can't say that under oath because I don't have that in front of me.
So essentially, the fire would burn.
No.
We would be left to our own devices until that team gets there.
Yep.
The team does respond very, very quickly. It has in the past. For small issues, we haven't had any really big issues, but our response is very quick.
12 hours, Houston.
Thank you. And I would ask Hillcourt and the supervisors to look into the feasibility of additional funding, training, and equipment to the volunteer fire department, since so much activity is going on in this township.
It's pretty funny.
Hillcorp has offered site visits and training to the local fire department and police department.
Anything else, Dennis?
Again, I just note our objection on standing basis.
He's in
Was
Pulaski.
close proximity. And with respect to Dr. Cheetah, comments, we don't think they're relevant and don't agree with his characterization of the law, but I don't think there's any need to respond further to that now.
Very well, that concludes the record.
Another question, I signed up.
Go ahead.
I
I need
didn't
your
swear
name.
in.
You weren't
Ruth
sworn in.
Fletcher, I live on.
Let me swear you in first. You solemnly swear the testimony you're about to give in this case will be the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth, so help you God.
I do.
And would you state your name for the record?
Ruth Fletcher.
Thank you.
I think the question's for Ms. McMurray. I also attended some of the meetings down at Mahoning Township. And Ms. McMurray, is that your name? McMurray? Yeah. When you called the Redvasky and John application a central facility, did you really mean it's a compressor station?
No, I meant it as a central facility, just like the record shows.
Well, how's it
Is there going to
different?
be a compressor on that
This
property?
is a central facility.
You said it was just like whiting.
Excuse me, one person at a time, thank you.
I'm still confused even though I asked my question.
I've answered it to the best of my ability.
I'm not satisfied.
Anything else?
I don't know, does it have a compressor on that property or not? Will it have one?
Do you want to answer that?
They're permitting them wrong.
You're selling yourself.
No, really, I needed a
We
kick
lied
in
to
the
you
ass.
last week too.
Okay,
What's the difference?
let's rock and roll. Forensic accountants.
Yes, ma'am.
I have one question, and I don't know if the
Excuse
board
me,
is
ma'am,
aware of it or
ma'am,
not.
excuse me,
I'm
I need your
not-
name.
I'm
I
not-
need your name,
Oh,
please.
Immaculate Hamilton, and I'm just asking, I just want to know if the board knows. Okay, now I understand this application has been withdrawn for our road, which is Mar Road, okay? Is there a reason it's been withdrawn?
Yes.
What is the reason?
It's not a permitted conditional use in that zoning district.
Okay, now, my second question is this, are you aware that Hillcorp has contacted me for a right-of-way to switch the direction of the,
Pipeline.
I just drew a blank, the direction of the, to meet the other unit? Do you know what I mean?
I have
The
no,
pipeline.
I have no knowledge about your relationship with Hillcorp or the pipeline.
Well, that's not my relationship,
Just
they
a second,
contacted me.
just a second. I allowed you to speak, and I would appreciate the same courtesy when I'm
Sure.
talking to you, okay?
Mhm.
Not because I have an ego about it, because this
No,
young lady is
I
trying to
understand.
write all this down.
People behind you. It's been 2 years.
We will take questions about this facility, and we will hear evidence about this application and this facility. Other issues involving Hillcorp are not part of the agenda here tonight. They may be at some future time,
Okay,
but
so it would have to be brought up at a different meeting then?
if there's a meeting that addresses that, yes, thank you. Okay, that concludes the record. Now, yeah, we're not gonna, if you've already spoken, the record is closed as to you. You're gonna talk anyway.
No, I won't.
Go ahead.
I just have a question for Greg. Are you sure TC Ready Mix, your family business, isn't making any money? Because I'm hearing differently that TC Ready Mix trucks are on spot at these well pads, and if that's the case, you gotta recuse yourself.
I'm an employee at TC Ready Mix. I don't own a company.
You're an employee there. Your family
I'm
owns
an
this
employee.
company,
I don't own it.
but your family does.
I have.
But you
bosses
said
that own it.
before, we have it on tape, and you said under oath that no, TC Ready Mix has no
I work in
dealings.
Youngstown, Ohio.
Yes.
Out of that plant, we don't do nothing with the gas wells.
You don't do anything?
No.
So TC Ready Mix here isn't affiliated with TC Ready
No,
Mix
it's not.
there?
That's
No, it's not.
I'm just.
That's two totally.
No, we're off the record.
We're off the record.
We're off the record.
Thank you.
We're off
We're
the
gonna
record.
close the record. You said you had a question.
I did.
Under Pennsylvania law, if he feels he has a conflict of interest, then he would recuse himself. If he doesn't, then that's a whole different kettle of fish, but it doesn't affect where we're going with this record tonight, okay?
I don't see
You raised
how.
the issue, and if necessary, it will be addressed. But each elected official makes that decision on their own.
Okay, thank you.
Okay? All right, that concludes the record. We're done. You want to have an executive session?
At this time, we'll need a motion to enter into an executive session.
I make a motion.
I'll second it. All in favor? Aye.